All right, tonight is one that I have been looking forward to on the mesh networks. One of the things that on this recent drill that they had, the ham net thing that was a couple months ago, on the evaluation, one of the things that they recognized happened very quickly was that they saturated the net. They just overloaded it. There were too many people, too much information, and they just saturated the net. So you need to come up with something that will allow people to transfer information and make contacts and send data and whatever without using radios. And so conventional ham radios. So tonight we've got a couple of people that will be presenting to us. Brad and Jay are going to be presenting the broadband mesh network thing, mesh net or whatever they want to call it. So it will be something that I think will be of great interest, great benefit in an emergency. So when the internet goes down, the intranet can be up. All right, so without further, we'll turn it over to Brad and Jay and let them take it away.
Hi, good evening. Brad and 7LCD. Some of you may recall seeing this some of these slides from a presentation that I did before. And what I'd like to do is start with that. And basically, for those of you who've been in amateur radio for a while, you may remember this, but there was a communications means that was used in the amateur radio called packet. And everybody had these really big modems. And it literally was a computer-to-computer network, no voice. Well, that was really neat because everything could be mobile and mountaintops and that type of thing. The problem was its speed. Its speed maxed at 1,200 baud. So needless to say, with the invention, trying to move the editorial out, with the invention of the internet, this died because transferring like what Jay did last month when he was showing you how to use FL Digi and to transmit a photo, that photo that took us 5 minutes last month would literally take hours, and it was one photo. So the internet killed the packet. The amateur radio community started looking at a new high-speed communication system. That's where they came up with the high-speed multimedia. They have since changed the name, we'll talk a little bit more later, to Hamnet and a few other names that we'll talk about. But basically, they stood up, started investigating, and they stood up a substitution for an internet. The whole design behind this is to be a private internet. And why? Well, I have the beginning of a little video here I'd like to play for you. This video is actually from a Nova episode on cyber warfare.
Devastating attack against the United States. They delivered with the tap of a key.
Instead of bullets and bombs, you use bits and bytes.
Using only a computer, a terrorist, or a nation can attack critical infrastructure like the power grid.
That could result in a blackout for the majority of the U.S. that could last weeks or months.
The enemies are anonymous. Their reach is global. As internet connections multiply, so does the threat.
Imagine a world with 50 billion microprocessors attached to the internet. That's 50 billion points of attack.
The targets are everywhere.
Computers are permeating our environments.
There are potential computer security risks anywhere there's one of these computing devices. And we'll be applying your brakes shortly.
Even in your car.
Right about now. Yeah, that worked.
Cyber weapons have already been unleashed.
It was the first real cyber sabotage that affected the real world.
Somebody has used an entirely new class of weapon to effect destruction.
Is it too late to put the genie back in the bottle?
When we put the little evil virus in the big pool, it tends to escape and go Jurassic Park on us.
Can we survive the cyber war threat? Right now on Nova.
Now, here's where I want to start over. Let me introduce myself to you. My last military job, Master Sergeant Brydeck, I was the NCOIC for a CERT team, which is a computer emergency response team. I was at the Arizona National Guard, attached to the California National Guard, working with the Northern California team, reporting directly to the DOD. This stuff is real. I'm sorry, I get goosebumps because I see it, I saw it. This stuff is real. This is why mesh to us in the communications world, in the MCOM world, is so important. We cannot rely on Verizon. We cannot rely on the internet. It will not and may not, but it will not be there for us. And this is where this little demonstration tonight that I'm going to go through is basically to show you we can stand up our own network using some of the same equipment that you can buy at Best Buy with a few minor tweaks, and we're going to demonstrate that, and make it easy to use. Here's what I want from you guys now. I have a tendency of getting technical. Jay's smiling already. Okay? If I explain something and you don't understand it, I can guarantee you you're one of 5 people that don't understand it. So please stop me and let's talk about it. Ask questions. Very important. Let's move forward on mesh. Everyone has seen this. You have your amateur radio license. You've seen this. Basically what we're going to talk about is this section of the amateur radio band. There's actually 3, but we're going to, for this conversation tonight, we're going to concentrate on that. You will notice that the amateur radio band that we have actually overlaps with a Wi-Fi that's out there. Basically what it is specifically the G band, you will see that part of that allocation that we have overlaps the Wi-Fi, so you have 2 different areas here. One's controlled by us, for the FCC, by our license, Part 97, and it overlaps with the stuff that you buy at Best Buy under Part 15. What's really cool about this is that means there's equipment available, and it also means we run under different license requirements. Example, the Part 15 stuff, like the Linksys box right off the shelf, maxes out at 1 watt. Under Part 97, we can bump this up to 100 watts. We can go distances. Now, we're going to talk about equipment. There is all kinds of stuff, commercial off-the-shelf equipment, that can be modified to be used for mesh. This is one of them. This is the Linksys that Jay has here. Perfect example. This is the stuff that you've heard us talking about. Okay, have you tried this Goodwill? How about this Salvation Army? Are you finding any of these particular models? But the neat part of that is, since we first started this, you can now buy an off-the-shelf Ubiquity unit, and we're going to go through these a little bit later, that just with updating the firmware, and it's brand new. I like the brand new simply because I've burned out 2 or 3 of these already just because of their old. So you can see this equipment is inexpensive. We can get all kinds of different accessories for it, like here's the links is, specifically what models and what version you need to do this. I'm going to skip over this quickly, but now this is the Ubiquity equipment and basically all the different models and what bands. We're concentrating on the M2 band. Now, we get into amplifiers, we get into antennas. Now here's what I think is a perfect outdoor antenna. It's only an 8 dB gain antenna, but the neat part of it is you connect the Ubiquity on the bottom, and you notice it has a built-in bracket screwed to the side of your house. And all you have to do is run the Cat 5 down. Well, we can talk more about this later, but this is a omnidirectional where you can see there's also directional antennas. Believe it or not, this one is available at Walmart. These I bought on Amazon. This is not where you have to go to ham radio out. And this is where we talk about distances. But the important thing is our uses. And here's where, back to the beginning, I'm going to kind of try to close this loop. Emergency communications. As Dennis was talking about earlier, they had a problem when we overloaded the voice network, of course. But now we can do email, file transfers, including imaging. Two-way video streaming. By the way, you're going to see all this tonight right here in this room. Full duplex streaming audio. You're going to see that. You're going to talk on it. And voice over IP. Now, a lot of different options there, but remember, all the options we want to look at and use for primary is things that will work without the internet. Okay? Like FaceTime won't. FaceTime won't work because you have to log in somewhere for FaceTime to actually talk and find another computer. Okay, so we're going to go back to the packet network before we go into the demonstrations. But basically, we're going to replace this with a mesh network. Now, here's what's really, really neat for us. When we stand up these antennas, and by the way, you've probably seen littler ones like this on those little boxes that are on street poles. Basically, this is what those are. It's just, in our case, it's not mesh. Basically, these are all self-learning. It makes it really easy. We have to worry about this stuff, but when we set this stuff up, they see each other. They self-learn each other. They learn the paths. So that way, if, for example, there's a power outage or something fails, mesh knows that's failed. I have to talk to a different route to get to where I need to go. And by the way, not only is it self-forming, but it's self-healing. When that stuff comes back, nobody has to go out and press a button, or nobody has to remote into it. So, with that in mind, these are just some of the other names that you see out there. Internet, Broadband Hamnet is another one, and we're going to start doing a little demonstration. Okay. First, I'm going to walk you through this in a second, but I am actually connected to, there's a wireless access point in here that says N7LZD-G. If you want to start connecting to it, it takes a little while, it's a little slow, I apologize, it's older equipment. You can connect to that, start connecting to it. Don't open Internet Explorer because you're going to get an error and that's expected. But this is an example right now of I'm actually using the network and I am connected to that antenna off that chair over there. And what I'm showing you here is, notice over on that, I have an IP camera, I have VoIP, and I have mail. We're going to look at that in a second. Over here, it shows me I have VoIP, I have a firewall, but also, let me refresh this. For those of you who are here for my previous demonstration, Here's another mesh node. I have a hard drive in it to store data, powered by a 12-volt battery, which, by the way, we put the ends on these wires at one of our previous classes when we were dealing with those connectors. Also, Jay?
You see N1RWI 100, which is one of these, $4 at Goodwill. I bought another 12-volt power supply, which was like $2 at Goodwill, so total investment of $5, or a really good cup of coffee at Starbucks, is what I paid for this whole thing. That's sitting on a 8-amp-hour battery running off an inverter in my truck in the parking lot, and we're seeing it here. Just as an example, I just went to the parking lot, plugged it all in, came inside, said, Brad, hit refresh. Boom, it's up on the network. So when he says it's self-healing and it's self-aware, there's no login involved, that's the case. You just plug it in, flash it, which we'll talk about later, make sure it's set up the right way, and you just plug it in and it will find each other. So I can plug this one in and put it in the room over there and hit refresh, and you'll see that one pop up in another second as well.
The hardest part, as we move into other services that now use this, is you're going to say, I mount this up on my house. What next? What do you use it for? What next? You know, that's actually the hardest part. No, thank you. Because this is as easy as it is to assemble it, mount it on your house, run a Cat 5 wire down. But what do we use this network for? Now, if on your computers you have already connected to N7LZD-G, open up your Internet Explorer, and your home page is going to error out because you don't have access to the internet. But once again, this is kind of slow, so bear with me. Everybody type in the address 10.3.150.162. 10.3.150.162. Now, if you have iPads, go ahead and do that. You can do it on an iPad. If you have an Android phone, go ahead and do that. You'll see it.
All right, so where am I supposed to, I'm here, it says connected to the N7LZD-G. Now where do I go to?
Okay, open up your Internet Explorer.
Okay.
And go to that address. And once you get this certificate error,
10 dot.
go ahead and click on continue to this website. Now, I apologize, it's slow. But the reason it's slow is this whole class tonight was a proof of concept. I've got a desktop computer over there on the stage that is 9 years old, so you can about imagine how old that is. And I installed small business server on it to get to this. Yes. 10.3.
I had to disconnect.
.150.162.
Okay, mine's saying your connection is not private, back to safety. I don't see where I need to hit to go to advanced or whatever. Or maybe it's under the advanced.
His is doing it, mine's, yeah, his is doing it, mine's not.
Do you
All right.
have your cell service connected? That's why. And you have a,
Yeah, I'm connected to, yeah, but I'm connected to your Wi-Fi.
okay, so put the Wi-Fi back on.
Yeah.
Go ahead and
Go ahead and
go back to your,
And my laptop will not connect for whatever reason.
go back to your web browser.
Yeah, go back up to 191.
Now,
$52.
understand, this is going to take a while. It's an old computer. This is the whole purpose of this is proof of concept. Dennis.
Disconnected.
It's not letting me. All right, hang on.
Trying to
Bring up
remember
a better
if
browser, that's lousy.
Hang on.
All right, let's get rid of these. And let's,
I think I have you in there, or if you get to that screen, if you type in your call sign, all lowercase, with the password all lowercase.
Okay.
If you're trying it,
I just said the webpage is not available.
Okay.
Hit
Ten
reload.
dot what?
You hit
Talk
reload.
to me again.
If you're
3,
trying it, I have
150,
20 users
160.
set up. So one user
What's the password?
for your call sign, it's also your call sign, all lowercase.
Okay.
You'll see my format here, user 01. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way up to 20. So if you just want to grab one and yell out what user you're using so nobody else tries to do it.
Go to your web browser.
All right, I need to have you back up.
Yeah,
On
sure.
the login for the username,
Yes.
I do the EOC or do I do?
No, you do the user 01,
Okay.
And then type in 10.3.
USER 01, with the password of user 01.
150
All right, I did my call sign,
dot 162.
and
Didn't take it?
I don't know, it just took me right back here.
Okay, I'm in.
No, okay, maybe I don't have you set up. Go ahead and use user 02.
All right, I'm in the folder right now. but
Right,
I-
and it will refresh.
Okay.
The issue here,
Is it user dash or?
no, user USER 02 with the password of USER 02.
Mine won't connect.
You'll be 3?
All right, so I did 01, which is a replication of that.
Actually, no, I'm logged in as EOC. I just sent a message from user 1 to here.
Okay,
And I'll send something back to you.
all right.
Okay, I guess I am in.
Okay, so what I'm trying to show you here is this is an email system that is closed to the outside world. This does not require the internet to run. Now, if we wanted to stand up a true MCOM server here and not only have it private emails for in case of emergency, we could open it up to the outside world as well. But that would be only for the use of during non-emergencies because we can't rely on the internet. But this is a perfect example where I can, this is just like any other webmail, Gmail, whatever. And I'm just going to go over here and go, new message. I'm going to click on the 2. And I'm sorry, Dennis, I did not add you.
I am user 2.
You're user 2. So I will just grab eight users and go 2. And with this in mind, okay, that takes care of that. So I'm going to then now do a exit out of there. So I can go back here and go test message. And I'm just going to send some stuff in here. Okay, so with this in mind, if you do a refresh, once again, this is using your, no special, we're not loading any software on your devices. And you will, if eventually it will come up, or you can press the radio where it says check messages, and you can just press that and you should see that message. This is an example of where we can use an off-the-shelf piece of software, in this case, small business server. We'd want to use something newer, better, on a nicer box, so it's faster. But we can now, from a laptop at a stake or at a district, they're working on an Excel spreadsheet, they want to send it. They can do that. That's what I wanted to show you on that. We're going to talk more about that a little bit later, but I want to demonstrate the next thing that's out there.
Mine won't connect.
10.3 dots. And by the way, on a real network, we'd actually stand up what they call DNS. It's naming, so we wouldn't have to type in these funky numbers. Okay. If you go to this address, a little different, 10.3.150, 166 and put a :99 behind it.
One 166.
And I want to show this to you on my iPad.
166, after 166.
:99.
How many users can you put on that at once?
On the camera,
Yeah.
view, I want to say it's 7 or 10.
Okay, that should get
Just about everybody.
Yeah.
This is a $17 camera that I bought on Amazon,
Okay.
just to show you proof of concept, that's sitting over there on the stage. And you'll notice I can move it. I have control of it. And you will. Now, the idea of this is, once again, we have the same mesh network. We have the same mesh network, but we are using another piece of off-the-shelf equipment as in a camera. Now, what I would say when we talk to the fire department with Joe, hey, this would be a great thing to have, obviously better cameras than these, because this doesn't even have a zoom on it. But this could be something that they could put forward to be able to say, hey, the EOC actually wants to see the tanker fire. Well, here's an example. They can watch it from inside without watching Channel 12 News.
I think we ought to put a camera on one of Bruce's phone.
So what is the username, password, same thing?
In this case, for the username, just type in camera and no password.
99, :
:99 is the port that
Yeah.
this has to use.
Okay, then it comes up with ActiveX mode, server push mode, and no plug-in mode.
If you're using your iPad, use the no plug-in mode.
And there she blows.
That's what he's saying.
You guys are using your equipment you brought tonight, and you're talking across this equipment here, going out this antenna, talking mesh to the equipment up on the stage. Now, let's talk about VoIP. There's a lot of buzzwords. VoIP is one of them. They talk about, we were talking earlier about Cisco, a Cisco call manager and VoIP phones, and it needed a PBX somewhere to talk to, that type of thing. There's a lot of infrastructure that has to stand up. We've talked about, hey, adding a headset on your laptop, and you can do point-to-point from laptop to laptop. That's really neat. Here's the problem with using your laptop. In a real emergency, you're going to be busy filling out that Excel spreadsheet or typing out that message, and somebody else is going to want to use the phone to talk to somebody. Too much for one laptop. You end up having to be a computer expert to keep the thing running. Little device I found that actually I used in my employment. It's from a company called Valcom. These are about $400. They come in 3 different flavors, 1-line, 2-line, or 4-line. And basically, all I have to do, I didn't do anything special to them. I literally last night flashed them, set the IP address, and set the numbers. Would you like to pick up that phone, sir? And dial 801. City Morgue, use that in the flood. You are using, you can hang up if you like. You are using cheap phones, which in an emergency you know, people are gonna drop them on the floor, drop them on the ground. How many times have we ruined our radios or our phones dropping them? Here you're using a Radio Shack, or a little bit better there, that one's basically a Best Buy equivalent, a cheap phone to use this equipment. And we're not relying on the laptop that you're trying to type up that message on.
That's good.
Another neat device that we have at the stake, the EOC, to where all of a sudden there might be something that's a little bit more than just, hey, I need water. Maybe the stake president or whoever's in charge of needs to talk to somebody in the EOC. There it is. They have a phone line that is not relying on CenturyLink, Verizon, AT&T, the internet. We're doing it all internal. Now, I want to talk specifically about last month. And then we can play more. Who has FL Message still loaded on their laptops from last month? Great. Okay. All right. We're going to use FL Message. If you want to open it up, that's great. And I just grabbed the form plain text. That's fine. And I'm going to say from N7LZD to EOC, subject, I'm hungry. Shouldn't be after Chick-fil-A, so I'm going to say it. I need water. Okay. And using FL Message from last month, I'm going to click on the little ellipses here, and that's just going to put my date timestamp in there. And I'm going to go down here and go, I have 50 people need water. Now, like in last month's class, we would then wrap this and then pull up FL Digi and then key the radios, but we don't have to do that. We can go up to File, Save As, and you will notice it comes up, and I'm actually going to put it on my desktop because I created a folder there that's easy. And it gives it my call sign, and I increment it, and I do a save. Okay? Now I go back to, remember I still have Outlook open? And I go here and I go to New Message. And as I wait, I'm going to just attach that file to my message. I'm going to go here to Attachments. I'm going to do a Browse. I'm going to go down to my desktop, which remember I created that folder called Messages. And I'm going to go here. And I'm going to say Attach. Okay, and I'm going to say Done, and I'm going to go to 2, and I'm going to send it to all users. 2, and I'm going to then go Done, and I'm going to go Test Message. I have now used a NIMS, proper pronunciation of that code, N-I-M-S, format, for an emergency format, message, typed it up and sent that thing instead of using FL Digi and the airwaves. I have now sent it by email, by mesh.
Which is still via airwaves.
Which is still via airwaves.
Just really, really tiny.
Right.
I got it.
Now,
Got the attachment.
The only thing is,
we have it already.
yes, and you have it. Now, the only thing is you need to have FL Message on your device
I do.
in order to open it to read it. If you actually open it using Notepad, if you actually open it
Morse code and
using
Hammer?
Notepad,
It's the
open
app.
with, and I
don't
don't
know.
want to say always, I want to go to other programs, and I'm not going to search. But if I open it in a notepad, it would literally just come up with a line of codes with all different commas and that type of thing. But this is another example of, we still send our messages using FL Digi, but the means of sending the message is different.
What's the range?
The range. The range of this is line of sight. The range depends upon which unit you use. These are 600 milliwatts. It depends upon your antenna, how many dB gain your antenna is. This is an 8 dB gain antenna. You can get a 15 dB gain omnidirectional that they're not that long. And so it's all line of sight. So it can be anywhere from, especially if these are mounted outside, it can be anywhere from 300 feet if this is in the closet of your house, to outside, up in the air, using a high gain antenna, miles. Yes?
Has anyone used parabolics off of like satellite TV?
Like what we showed earlier?
Well, that was a wire one, but
Right.
yeah, essentially the same philosophy.
Yes, and that's where what I want to do now is show you where you can get more information.
I'm trying to get a reason for my wife to stop telling me to throw them all away that I've collected.
Oh, no, don't throw it away. You can use FTA, which is free TV and radio stations that come off from the satellite. All you have to do is change the LNB in the receiver, and the receivers are pretty cheap. But this site, and I apologize, I'm trying not to be technical, but it's hard. This was in your message that got sent to you earlier today. This is, I'm going to try to explain this site because it is technical. But basically, you'll see in here, it talks about, I'm going to click on supported hardware off. Hang on. Let me reconnect to the internet. Come on.
While you're reconnecting,
Yes.
if I'm understanding you, even though your mesh network will go line of sight, if you get enough people connected, you're going to be past your line of sight.
Yes, because if we go back to that presentation, with it being self-forming, for example, we talked a little bit last Saturday. Dennis's location is ideal to reach from this building west. Okay, so if you can't reach this building, don't worry about it, as long as you can reach Dennis's house if you're west of here, if he puts up an antenna. The thing is, it's all self-forming, so you don't have to go through all this contraption. You ever notice when you're in a hurry, it just doesn't want to work?
All right, so that brings up a problem with the potential of using a parabola or a parabolic dish,
Right.
that in order for it to be self-healing, you would have to have an omnidirectional,
Well, not
unless I was too
necessarily.
far away to push a signal to
Not